WrestleMania 6 was such a mixed bag. It had some really good moments, it had some spectacle, and then it had one of the worst segments I've ever seen in professional wrestling. Hello everybody and welcome. This is a series where a new fan of the WWE, or I guess semi-new, I've been watching WWE ever since 2015 and I've always been interested in the past PLEs, the past everything. So in this series I go back to the past, I watch every single WrestleMania for my first time and I review them basically immediately after. So if you want to join me on my journey, please make sure to leave a like, subscribe, all that. And I also have the previous 5 WrestleManias already uploaded, so yeah, please go check them out as well. I have to mention one thing right now, which is the fact that in the past episode, I didn't know who Blue Blazer was. I was not aware that Owen Hart was the Blue Blazer, and I'm really glad to know that right now. So yeah, if there's anything I missed from this episode, please let me know down below. Again, this is all just about learning, just about experiencing the past, trying to look at it through the modern lens, and just trying to enjoy it all. So yeah, please don't be too harsh on me. Now, WrestleMania 6 was actually set in Canada, in Toronto, I'm pretty sure, and yeah, it was such a great atmosphere, such a great crowd. It was definitely the best crowd WrestleMania has had so far. You could see that everyone there did not necessarily have wrestling shows every single week, so they really felt the weight of everything and they really wanted to enjoy it and they really wanted to cheer and everything like that. Such a great atmosphere. However, the opener wouldn't be so great. The opener was Coco Beware versus Rick Martel, and I honestly really got bored immediately. Rick Martel would win and with a Boston Crab, and that's basically all you need to know. Then we would have Andre the Giant and Haku, aka the Colossal Connection, versus Demolition for the Tag Team Championships. And I love, just in the beginning of this, Andre never wears his belt. He's just way too big, so the Weasel or Bobby Heenan has to wear it for him, or I guess like carry it in his hand. That's just like a funny detail I noticed that really adds to just the mythology of Andre the Giant. It's just a really funny thing to me. And also Haku is part of the Colossal Connection. You would expect him to be huge, but he's actually the smallest guy in the ring in this matchup. Both Axe and what's the other guy's name? I can't remember. But yeah, both of the Demolition guys and Andre the Giant, of course, are bigger than him, so he's a part of the Colossal Connection. He's this big guy. He's just not as big as everyone else, and I know he's big, like probably standing next to me. I'm like 6'2", and he's probably bigger than me, but in this match he was just like kind of a smaller guy. It's really weird how perspective works, I guess. Demolition would win the match and win back their tag team championships yet again for the 3rd time, and it was a really interesting match. You could see how they were trying to save Andre the Giant with Haku doing most of the stuff and Andre the Giant just standing in the corner, and like when someone comes into the corner he would mess with them and stuff like that. That's basically what happened throughout the match. And then Haku would at one point hit Andre the Giant on accident, and after they lost, Bobby the Brain Heenan would start attacking Andre the Giant. He would start yelling at him, all that good stuff, and then he would even slap him, and then Andre the Giant would just snap. He would attack him, Haku would try to come in and help, Andre would keep on attacking them. It would just be a continuous beatdown, and I guess Andre the Giant is back to being a face now. I'm not necessarily certain, but I guess so. Earthquake would then give an interview before his match, and I think he blew up during the interview because you could see like he was struggling to get air. It was really funny. I really love these early interviews. They're just like nonsensical, nothing makes sense, especially with Ultimate Warrior, who I'll be talking about later. It's just really funny.
As the earthquake intensifies and I knock the foundations right out from under your feet.
And yeah, Earthquake would go up against Hercules, and yeah, Hercules would actually try to do a backbreaker to Earthquake. I mean, look at Earthquake. Look at the man. Do you think it's wise to do a backbreaker to him? Yeah, Hercules lost, as you could imagine. Brutus the Barber Beefcake versus Mr. Perfect would be up next, and Mr. Perfect had this big streak that was ongoing of him just winning, and then he lost at a house show just a couple days before WrestleMania, so this Brutus Beefcake win just doesn't hit nowhere near as hard. It's kind of really stupid what they did there. I don't know the full backstory, I just kind of know that he did lose. at a house show. After 2 years of not losing, he lost at a house show, couple days before WrestleMania. And then you have him lose at WrestleMania again. You could have just had him lose at WrestleMania, it would be completely fine. And yeah, that's just... old school wrestling is something I will never truly understand. Then there was allegedly a match between Rowdy Roddy Piper and Bad News, which I found ended in a no contest, but I was watching on Netflix and it wasn't on Netflix, so I'm not sure what's going on with that. Then we would have the Hart Foundation versus the Bolsheviks, and the Hart Foundation would interrupt the Bolsheviks singing the Soviet national anthem and win in like 10 seconds, and that's it. It was a really short match. It was there just to pop the Canadian crowd, and it makes sense. The Canadian heroes winning in 10 seconds against the evil communists. Yeah, honestly, yeah, it works. Then we would have the Barbarian versus Tito Santana, and another real interesting match, which the Barbarian would win with this really cool finisher, which was a clothesline off the top turnbuckle. It looks really good. I wonder why no one's doing it. That looks really strong, but nobody does it, and it doesn't seem like it's that hard or that painful to do. So yeah, this is a really cool finisher. Then WrestleMania would get its first taste of Dusty Rhodes and his promos, and although this was maybe the worst time for Dusty Rhodes, as this was his polka dots gimmick, he's still a much better promo than like 99% of people in the WWF. During the promo, he also says they have got the crown jewel. Let's see what that means in their mixed tag team match against King Macho, or Macho King, or something like that, and Queen Sherry, and this was a really interesting match, and this Dusty Rhodes entrance, it slaps, like this music, woo, that's so good, and you remember the talk about the crown jewel? Yeah, the crown jewel is actually Miss Elizabeth, the previous manager of Randy Savage and the previous partner of Randy Savage. Maybe they were still together in real life at this time, but in storyline, they broke up and now she's back against him. And I really thought this was going to play a much bigger role during the match. It didn't. On a psychological level, it really didn't. She did play a role. She helped Dusty Rhodes and Sapphire win their match, but in the grand scheme of things, I think they could have done much more with Miss Elizabeth doing there. But yeah, it was a really funny match. The rules were kind of the AJ Styles and CM Punk versus Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch style of rules, where men are attacking women, women are attacking men, but just kind of. Not really, but kind of. So yeah, it was a really fun match. Now, I don't mention every single interview when I'm doing these videos because there's too many and most of them are just like, I'm gonna beat your ass, brother. But during this WrestleMania, I really realized we have much more interviews with wrestlers than we had in any WrestleMania before this. Because just between the mixed tag team match and the next match, we had 4 separate interviews with wrestlers and 2 other just different segments, and it was really interesting. It really helps you watch these because it just breaks the pace up. It's not just match. Gorilla Monsoon and Jesse Ventura talking about some stuff, someone chasing a girl around and stuff like that. It's much more normal. It feels much more modern, I guess. And yeah, also I'm pretty sure the Ultimate Warrior just spouts random nonsense. Like, I really tried to understand what he was saying here. I really did. I had a stroke trying to understand it. I had a stroke. Like goddamn.
Hulk Hogan, the colors of the Hulkamaniacs are coming through the pores of my skin.
The Orient Express versus the Rockers would be the next match, and it was a really fun match. It's a shame it ended in a count-out, but it's definitely not the worst count-out I've ever seen. At least it's not a double one. The Orient Express would win. Dino Bravo versus Hacksaw Jim Duggan would have a match next, and it was a classic USA versus Canada match where the USA guy is a face in the US but a heel in Canada, and the Canada guy is a face in Canada and a heel in the US, which Dino Bravo is from Canada and Hacksaw Jim Duggan is from the US, of course, and Hacksaw Jim Duggan would win, but he would get demolished courtesy of the Earthquake, who is also a heel. Really interesting storytelling, because I think they wanted to pop the Canadian crowd with Jim Duggan being beat down continuously, but since it was a heel beating him down, nothing really happened. The crowd was kind of apathetic towards it, I guess. Jake the Snake Roberts versus Ted DiBiase would be fighting next for the $1 million belt, and it was a decent match. It was a really decent match. It would end in a count out and Ted DiBiase would win. It was kind of really nothing special, I guess. I'm not really sure about all the Jake Roberts matches because I can see he's a good worker, but somehow it always ends really stupidly. Akeem versus Big Boss Man would be up next, and Big Boss Man would get attacked by Ted DiBiase before the match because he didn't want to take bribe money, I think, but it doesn't matter because Big Boss Man wins anyway because he's Big Boss Man. Who the man? Who the man? And then we would get the debut of the new song from the Honky Tonk Man and Greg the Hammer Valentine. The song would be called Honky 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 Honka Love. At least I guess it was called that, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, and we also get this really awkward segment of an interviewer going around the arena asking people what they think of the song. And then Honky Tonk Man, when singing the song, he has just zero music sense. He's off tune for 90% of that song. And don't even get me started on Greg Valentine, please. You could really see that neither Honky Tonk Man nor Greg wanted to do any of this, and this was just a Vince McMahon idea to maybe make some money, and then Bushwhackers would come in a really awkward way, and they would interrupt it, and no, I'm not going to lie, this is one of the worst segments I've seen watching all of these WrestleManias so far. It's really bad. It's just awkward all the time. It's not good. It's not good. I would recommend you go watch it just to see like how weird it felt. But yeah, it was just so awkward all the time. I could see what they were going for. It just didn't work. Rick Rude would then go up against Jimmy Superfly Snuka, and this was a really uninteresting match. Rick Rude wins. That's it. It was really quick as well. And we would get the great spectacle of Hogan versus the Ultimate Warrior. And yeah, of course, we get the most exciting move in all of professional wrestling. The bear hug. Who doesn't get excited? Who doesn't get electrified? The bear hug for 2 minutes. Who could not like this? Yeah, as you know, I really hate the bear hug, and for whatever reason, it's a staple of these WrestleManias. It's such a bad move. And yeah, it wasn't a great match, but it was a spectacle. It was really a spectacle. You could see the crowd was really involved. Everyone really cared about this. This was also the first time that Hogan legitimately lost at WrestleMania. Up until this point, he had one technically loss, which was against Andre the Giant, which was a double countout. And that's it? I mean, is that really a loss? This was the first time he lost for real, just one-on-one, man-to-man, who's better, who's stronger, and he lost. Really fun stuff. And yeah, this WrestleMania was actually really interesting. It had its lows, it had its ups. I would maybe rank it somewhere in the middle. I'm definitely gonna do a full tier list of the first 10 WrestleManias once I'm done watching them, but yeah, really fun stuff. Thank you for watching.